What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for another week of building Coruscant in LEGO. Now, those who love smaller, more detail-oriented builds are going to love this update because I'm taking a break from the large scale and shrinking things down and taking a more focused look at some smaller sections of the build. I'm going to be building the second half of the SkyBridge and comparing the two sections and seeing how they mesh together and if that whole area looks realistic. And I'm finally going to be starting on some arabesh billboards and signs and explaining a little bit about that Star Wars language. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button and let's get started. I'm going to start out by building the other half of the SkyBridge. I say half, but one side is much bigger than the other. The section I'm working on is the smaller of the two and will look the same as the first one. One problem with building the two sections at different times without seeing them facing each other is that the damaged sides may not match up. So when I finish both and have them facing each other, I'll probably need to adjust certain areas to make the damage look realistic and make sure the gap between the two sections is wide enough for the Vulture droid to fit through. While building this section, I kept looking at the other side to try and mirror the damage as best I could. And honestly, if the damage looks more extensive and dramatic than it should, I don't think that'll be a big deal because I think it'll just make the whole scene look cooler overall, because who doesn't like more battle damage? I'm going to add a pillar of brick behind the wall where the SkyBridge will sit. This will support it and keep it from sagging. The other side of the bridge is so long it does sag a bit, but I think it adds to the overall damaged look, and since this other side is much smaller, any sagging will be less noticeable. Once the pillar is done, it's time to connect the bridge. All right, let's take a look at that SkyBridge. So the second half is all finished and installed into the mock. Pretty much the same exact procedure as the first half. This is what the battle damage section looks like. So it's not completely finished. You can see the two sections do kind of match up, but not as well as I would have hoped. The top part is much more open and extensive than the bottom part. And I feel like if anything, the bottom part should be bigger. Some of the glass is a little more broken than I would have liked. This side looks better, but I feel like this side, the broken part, juts back too far into the SkyBridge. But as you can see, I had to use a bunch of 1x2s because I ran out of these larger 1x2x3 plates. I have more of those coming, so this actually isn't its final form. I'll be taking all those out and replacing it, so I can always, fix the glass and make it look better once I get those parts in. As for the ship, I imagine it coming down from a pretty steep angle like this, cutting through the SkyBridge. You can see it barely fits. It's pretty snug, but I can get it all the way through. Comes down there, down here at the bottom, hits into the stone floor and the wall, and bounces off of it and then gets pushed up in this direction. Then we're going to have it kind of grind to a halt right here somewhere. This is obviously going to be very smashed and broken, but I don't want to do that until the very end of the mock series. That way I don't lose the parts and it doesn't get all messed up. Might have some of it hanging in the SkyBridge, some more down below there, but you can see it cuts a fairly accurate hole through the bridge. I don't like I said, I don't like how open this top part of the bridge is, but I think I might just leave it because I think it looks cool. If I were to make this battle damage section more accurate to what actually happened, it might not look as interesting, but I still have many weeks to look at this and change and adjust. I'm just glad to have the base model of this whole SkyBridge in battle damage. I do have one more thing to show you guys in regards to this entertainment section. So I made a rare trip to the Lego store, and while I was there, I found some stuff on the pick-a-brick wall that'll work great for Coruscant. I've got some seats in here for dining chairs. I've got some quarter purple rounded wedge plates as tables, but most importantly, I found a bunch of these, and this is probably the last thing I expected to see on the pick-a-brick wall. I had a bunch of these, and I wanted to incorporate them in the mock somehow, but I wasn't sure how, and then I had this idea to basically create the entire roof of this entertainment section out of these little clear windshields. So they would line the inside like this, turn right here, come across this side, turn down here, and they would be connected to a hinge right here. So when the weather was nice out and it was nice and sunny, they could open these up. But if it was rainy or stormy, or the guests just wanted a little bit more cover, they could lower the roof. So now you have this lowering and raising roof that will allow me to cover it off without having to spend a ton of bricks making a permanent roof, which I thought was really cool. So between what I already have in this pick-a-brick cup, I should hopefully have enough to build that whole roof section. Also, I forgot on Saturday's live stream, I got all the rest of the filler brick in, got a bunch of plate down and mapped out the other side of the wall for the entertainment center, and I got some work done on the skyscraper. I made it even taller. This thing probably won't be completely done until the very end of the series, just because of how many parts go into building it. After all the work I did, I think I only added on about this much of the skyscraper, and I pretty much ran out of pieces, so I think I'll just be building it a little bit at a time. I would like it to have it be around this tall, so as you can see I still have a little ways to go, but I am over halfway. But that's everything I have for you guys, so it's time to get back to work. I'm not building a door to this entertainment center, just a large arched opening. I don't know if any of you have ever been to an outdoor mall, but that's the kind of entrance I'm going for because it leads to a series of smaller shops and a common area that's pretty much always available to walk around and relax in. So it didn't really make any sense to build a giant door that would open and close. Above the doorway, I'm going to add a large Aurabesh advertising sign. This section is going to be full of all kinds of signs and displays, and once I get this arch area finished, I'm going to start work on some of those. The inside of the archway is going to be a walkway that leads from one half of the building to the other. It's not going to have much, just a railing and the raisable roof, clear roof, but I'm excited to get this part done so I can start work on that roof and see if what I have planned is actually even possible and will look good. Nothing is worse than having this awesome technique or thing you want to build, and then you either can't replicate what's in your head accurately, or you do and it just doesn't end up looking as good as you had hoped. I have been anticipating making the Aurabesh signs for a while, partly because I was excited to try, and partly because I had no idea how I was going to make that happen. For anyone not familiar with Aurabesh, it's the written form of BASIC, which is kind of like the trade language or basic language in Star Wars that most people know. So each culture or, alien species will have their own individual language, and they all kind of learn BASIC to be able to communicate together. I had a lucky break in regards to the building and constructing of the Aurabesh words because my friend Southern Creator is a master of Aurabesh in LEGO, and he pointed me to a website that allows you to put in an English word and it'll translate it into Aurabesh. If you love Coruscant MOCs, I would highly recommend checking out Southern Creator's channel. I want these signs to look like billboards and really grab your attention. So the base will be made out of trans light blue parts to make it glow a little and add a pop of color to all the gray. The characters will be on top of those. I'm using white tile to try and recreate the Aurabesh characters as best I can. I want the sign above the entrance to the entertainment area to say welcome, and inside the entertainment area I will have other signs saying food, drink, and other stuff. To be honest, this whole process was way easier and more fun than I thought it would be, as the letters are pretty blocky with a few curves, which translates into LEGO very well. Let's take a look at the Aurabesh, see how it turns out. So this sign is going to be directly above the doorway, basically, welcoming people in and trying to draw a crowd. There we go. Very pleased with it. I feel like it looks realistic. It looks, like some kind of language, which I was worried wouldn't happen. I thought I would just butcher it, but it looks pretty cool. So this is supposed to say welcome, but you can see it's not enough characters, and that's because I ran out of room and I didn't want to make this sign too big. And I think because, we can't look at that and see welcome, it doesn't look incomplete. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that, but it is supposed to say welcome. As for the placement of it, I think I might raise it up a little bit. And another thing I wanted to point out is this sign is built on transclear cylinders, whereas the other one is transclear plate, and this one pops out much further. So I'm gonna have my work cut out for me trying to figure out how to set this back into the wall more so it's not so far exposed. I would like it to jut out, just not as much as it is. But overall, we're on the right track still, and I'm liking how it looks. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of the Aurabesh sign. This is how the second sign turned out. I think it turned out a little bit better just because I was able to complete the whole word that says food. Maybe we'll have it like right over here, and then on this side we'll have drinks, or maybe food and drinks right here. I don't know. I haven't decided where the interior signs are going to be. You can see they're huge. I would like to try experimenting with some smaller ones, maybe shorter words like enter or go or something like that, just to add some more detail and color, because I really like the color. The blue and the white I think is going to add some really nice contrast and pops of color to this largely gray MOC. So that completes everything I wanted to do for the entertainment center. A lot of progress was made, a lot more than I was anticipating, which is good. And next week we'll get even more done. I would like to start working on the SkyBridge and figure out how it's going to connect to this walkway, if there's going to be steps, or how people are going to get between the different levels. But we'll talk about that next week. There's something I have been wanting to discuss for a couple of weeks now. Keep putting it off because other stuff comes up, but I feel like right now as we wrap up this update, it's a good time to address it. So you guys know I'm going to have a huge road basically running down the center of this MOC, leading up to what will be the Galactic Senate building over on that side. And the issue I just realized the other night was what is the road doing? What is the purpose of this road? I can't just run up to the front of the Galactic building and stop. Like, what are the cars supposed to do? Just turn around? That makes no sense. So I've been pondering lots of different solutions and things I could do. I thought about maybe having the road kind of turn and go off this direction, have like a little drop off area where taxis and other cars can drop off their senators to go into the building. I just didn't like that idea. And then I had the idea to have the road come down this section and then go down underneath the Galactic Senate building. Because, this is the Galactic Senate building for the entire galaxy. There's obviously going to be a lot of traffic going to and from this building, both up in the air and down on the ground. So I wanted this to be like, I don't know, we'll call it like Galactic Senate Boulevard or something like that. And it basically was built to help funnel traffic into the Galactic Senate building. So there'll be some kind of giant parking garage down there. I don't know how much of that I'm going to actually build, but I feel like that's a pretty good solution to help this road have purpose and to help kind of, merge it into the Galactic Senate area. So there's going to be a massive tunnel right here in front of the plaza where all the statues and steps are going to be, and that's where the road will go down into, taking the cars with it. So that makes me excited because that'll be fun to build. That'll be an interesting challenge, but that's pretty much everything this week. It's time to figure out what's going down next week. This update turned out far better than I initially expected. To be honest, as soon as I finished the SkyBridge, I had nothing else left to work on. So I'm really glad I had the idea to do the arch and the Aurabesh billboards. Next week is a big week because all the parts are coming in for this next month. So I'll have lots more options open up for building, as well as a bunch of minifigure parts because I want to start building some custom aliens to help populate this MOC. And who knows, I might be starting on the Galactic Senate building section next week. All that being said, don't forget to let me know what you thought about this update down below in the comments, and I will catch you all next time. But until then, happy building.